Hi there, welcome to Conlin Corner. Here's today's episode entitled Noun Case. Okay, so case is a noun's role in the sentence. So like subject or object or possessor, like this is my house. And in English, we often use position for this. Like for instance, Michael helps Timothy versus Timothy helps Michael. There are no form changes, just a change in position. And I mean, that's not always the case. We do mark possession with apostrophe s, and with pronouns we indicate subject or object. But in Takhù, nouns carry endings that determine their role in the sentence, while word order is much freer. And in English, we really only differentiate between subject, object, and possessor. Subject being the doer, the action, object its receiver, and possessor the thing that owns whatever we're talking about. But in Takhù, there are, like for instance, the difference between I help you, you help me, and this is my house. Those are all the three cases of English, but in Takhù, there are 8 cases, and I'll go into them on the next slide. So the nominative is similar to our English conception of subject. It represents the agent of a transitive verb, like the doer of an action, I help you. Also the main subject of an intransitive verb, so like I am happy, that sort of thing. And it can be used in passive voice, which I'll get into another time, for the object of an action, for the receiver of an action, but it's always going to represent the primary component rather than some sort of adjunct role in a sentence. It's always the sort of, so to speak, the main attraction. It will always represent the primary focus. And so the genitive is used for source of something, like this is Italian pecorino, this is pecorino from Italy. An inalienable possession, like something that cannot be lost, like a part of the body. Like this is my hand, that would be genitive there. And dative is for indirect object, and also with prepositions for place to which. It's called like I go to the store. So it would be used with like prepositions, the equivalents of to, toward, into, that sort of thing. It inherently represents direction. And it's the indirect objects, like I give this to you would be dative. To you would be dative. Or actually a better example would be I give you this. You is dative. But they're really basically the same thing. I just wanted to be clear that I wasn't talking about the object of the preposition to. I was doing that earlier, but that wouldn't be my point in this context, but that the dative could just stand alone and have the same sense as that. Okay, so the locative is used for alienable possession, and place at which. So place at which is like location, I am at the store, that sort of thing. And alienable possession means something you could lose. Like, this is my house right now, but it might not be forever. Like, I might sell it, that sort of thing. And the instrumental is used for means of action, like I cut the cheese with a knife, that sort of thing. And another thing would be place through which, like going, the preposition through, that sort of thing. I go through the gap, the strait. I go through the straits, that sort of thing. And the accusative is just used a lot it's used for the direct object. I help you, you would be accusative. It's also, in general, sort of, it can be used in a lot of constructions I'm not mentioning. It's sort of the utilitarian case that's used anywhere where another isn't clear. Another thing would be the abessive, which is used for absence. Now, of course, there are a lot of ways this, without X is a pretty narrow use for a case. Especially given the fact that we're dealing with 8 cases. In some languages that have like 34 cases or something, the abessive can just be used for that. They're really only substituting for the use of a single preposition, a single meaning per case. But in Takhù, with these few cases, then you really need a broader scope. But the abessive is used not just to indicate without X, but in a lot of very sort of without X, I mean like without a do, something like that, could be abessive, but it can also represent a lot of really specific constructions, like he does this without doing X, like within a certain set of constraints is a sense that can be expressed with the abessive, but I'll get more into that later. It's a very language specific and eclectic thing that you will not find in a lot of other languages, certainly not in English. It's kind of hard to translate, but thanks so much for watching Conlin Corner. See you next time.